My name is Des O'Brien, and it's a real pleasure and indeed a privilege to be here as current president of SCSI on this important occasion in the CitA calendar. With its origins going back to about 2001 as a research project in DIT Bolton Street in association with Waterford IT, CitA has grown to include representative and stakeholders from the broader architecture, engineering, construction and operations professions and professional bodies. The original vision was to harness the growing potential of ICT in the construction industry, and I suppose we've all seen and can recognise the technical and technological, the digital transformations that have occurred since 2001. Last week, as a surveyor, I was very interested to hear the insights of Andrew Waller of the RSES on this topic. This was at the PM-FM conference in Croke Park, and his work on the rise of the robotic surveyor, and I know quite a few of those. But his study for the RSES identified that probably 90% of the tasks that most surveyors undertake now will be automated to some degree in the coming years. As a surveyor, do I feel threatened by the introduction of BIM? Well, to a certain degree, yes, but I have, I suppose, a couple of challenges for people here, and I hope they'll be dealt with during the morning's presentations. Am I threatened? I feel more keen to learn about it. I'm aware of the benefits, but I'm also very aware of some of the risks associated with the lack of understanding out there in the industry, including my own lack of understanding. I'll be the first to admit it. Who owns the data? Who creates the data? Is there a cost in creating this model? And of course there is. And who's responsible for its accuracy and maintaining it over a long period? It calls up again the question of professional indemnity insurance. Who ultimately is responsible? All property professionals need to educate themselves and prepare themselves to adapt for all of these changes, and particularly the introduction of BIM. And in that sense, I suppose I'm preaching to the converted, because anyone who's come here this morning, or probably early adopters, are certainly interested in the topic. BIM has been talked about for so long now, and it's only now beginning to see some real traction in the industry. And who's adopting it? Well, the recent announcement of the GCC for public contracts, we know that'll push it along further, and we can all see the benefits, and certainly longer-term holders of assets will see the benefits. Trying to convince commercial clients of its benefits can be difficult enough, particularly somebody who's going to flip an asset. Now, it was interesting, somebody mentioned to me just before I came up that they're in the build-to-rent space, where they'll be holding an asset for 20 odd years. So this is a commercial development. So that is one of the areas where you need to get out there, probably, and convince developers as to what the long-term benefits are. In terms of the valuation of the asset, at the moment on commercial projects, it's certainly not necessarily realised. And that is one of the big challenges, I think, facing you all. You're all going to have to invest probably more time and more money, both in technology and in just developing your knowledge of the subject. And what does that entail? Well, hopefully the presentations this morning will throw a lot more light on that. What are BIM's strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities and the threats, and more particularly the risks associated with the varying different levels of understanding of the stakeholders? So I think risk needs to be addressed. There are the very clear long-term benefits for the management of information and its use, initially the prevention of errors and clash detection, but more developed for end users is probably the whole life cost and facilities management that follows on. Clients in both the public and private sectors have this idea that they need BIM, and construction professionals need to inform clients as to what they need, not necessarily sell them what they don't need, but to try and identify what is of actually use to the end user and to ultimately the private developer. Like all advances in technology and the sources, the use of the data BIM is very much part of that journey, and I hope the presentations this morning will go a long way to informing that much needed debate. And on that note, I'm going to hand you over to Avril. Thank you.